All right, there's my headboard. That turned out really nice. I like that. It's heavy, I will say that. But let's take a little walk. Here's my 2 sheets of plywood for the platform, 1/2 inch this time. The one, my bed upstairs in our master bedroom is 3/4 inch, but 1/2 inch will be just fine. So I got this set up last night. And one thing I discovered is that the brackets here in the corner have to be reversed. So I left the brackets on the long side pieces, but I had to reverse the other ones because the way it was set up, according to the instructions, the side pieces are supposed to lock down. But in my case, I had to flip it because if it was that way, then they would unlock by gravity being pushed up, the force of these trusses pushing them up. This way, gravity is forcing this piece down and locking it. And once I get the headboard and everything else in here, I'm fairly confident everything will be okay. One thing I did notice though when I was putting this together is that it's not a one-person job, which I did this by myself. You're going to need 2 people to help. What I want to do though to make it easier is to make a story stick basically down the center here to register these lengthwise or spacing them out the way they should be. So I've got to cut 1/2 inch strips to take up that difference between this piece here and the truss. There's a 1/2 inch gap right there that you can see here. I've got to fill that space, and then that'll lock it side to side. But I want to have a lock basically going lengthwise as well. I'm going to attempt to salvage this old piece from my workbench, which was a tool board on the back of the bench. You could slide different width tools in here, chisels, screwdrivers, whatever. I'm going to try and knock these spacers out and see if I can then run this through my planer and get a board that I can use. It's worth a try anyway. Big pieces off, and I'm just taking my chisel and trying to get some of these high spots so that when I run it through the planer, I won't have anything that'll catch it. Stop it in its tracks. I'm going to have some divots, but I don't really care. For a board that was destined for the scrap heap, probably. I got it cleaned up, all the chisel gouge marks and everything. So start to finish, this board from sitting in the corner of my shop to something I can use 30 minutes, and I'm very happy. So this is a pre-finished, it's got some finish on it. I'm gonna have that be the, I think that's gonna be down. It's got, this board goes this way. So I'd rather have the weight of the mattress be pushing down. I'm gonna figure out exact length, find center, and then, I can't do it. I'm just gonna glue blocks here to lock it in. All right, I got my layout done here. This is center. Then I went 18.5, I believe it was. Let me just double check that for you. 18.5 edge to edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue one block, and I am going to use this side. It'll be just fine. Once you tighten it down to those trusses, it'll spring back a little bit. So I'm going to glue down one side, take a 2x4, lay it in here, and come back later and glue down the other side. And, then drill a center hole here so I can run a screw into that truss to lock it all together. Once I get that established, then I can figure out the width of my plywood, because I've now subtracted this from the center of the platform. Use the fat part of the 2x4 here. I've got the one sheet of ply in the frame already. What I discovered is I have to cut the corners here, 45s, at 45, to get a little relief from those brackets. Otherwise this won't go tight to the side piece. So I'm just doing this by hand. That takes care of that. This piece was not square. I had to make 2 cuts to get this thing to square up. now go in there. I've got these leftover pieces. The drop cuts that will give me, enough pieces to make my spacers on those trusses. So that'll be my next piece to do here. Get those in here and get them built up. All right, this is a cross section of the sideboard. 1.5 inches, or very close. 1.25 inches. That 1/2 inch piece I stitched to it. Then this is the truss. And you see that miter cut there. And it's going to be set back from the outside edge about 1/4 inch. So I did some math. 77 is my inside dimension. -4 for that runner down the middle. Divide that by 2 is 36.5, minus this 1.25 inches is 35.25. So that is the length that I need for this spacer, which is what I call it. That goes there, right about there. And then that will lock my pieces together. This out here will lock that sideboard, keep it from going this way. In theory. So I cut these 1/16 of an inch shorter. I'm going to keep it just off the line. I don't want to have to wrestle and fight this thing to get it together, so I want a little bit of play here, but that's what I'm going to do, and just put in maybe 3 screws and some glue and tack this thing in place so it can't go anywhere. And I want to keep it as straight as possible. And then I'm going to check my measurement over here. Let me find a measuring device. This should be about 2.5. And that is like 1/16 of an inch short, which is good. I like that. Okay, that means everything will go together. And I'm holding off the line there. And I'm working off a center line. And this, I've got this marked as my center truss here. So I want to work, I want to make sure I do everything the same to the right. And then on all the pieces so that it lines up. And I'm trying to give it the old eyeball test here to see if things are going to work out. And they should. Get some of this stuff out of the way. Alright, let's put this in position. So we don't clamp it. right. Drops into place. This is just a hair high, which is okay. Plywood's going to sit on top of that. Yeah, that's okay. So headboard, center, footboard. Center to center, I've got about 22¼ inches. Yeah, that's about right, 22¼ Then from here to the footboard, I've got about 17 and, well no, I've got another inch over there. Probably about 18½ going that way. That, I like this, it's going to line up. And this is going to keep it locked in solid. And these are going to keep the sideboards and everything else from shifting as well. One last thing before I stain my project, I'm staining these trusses out here on the end, especially, I mean from here out. I noticed when I had it set up and took a step back, this is a stark contrast to what you want. It's going to be dim or dark underneath there, but you don't want to really notice this is what I'm getting at. So if I've got some of this black stain, I was going to just use some black spray paint, but this is working out just as well. And just kind of slopping it on here, especially this end grain, because this is what you see first, or notice, I guess. But and if it's this dark color, I don't think it'll jump out like it did. You know, this pine color, yellow. And I don't really even need to go back this far either, but just keeping it consistent. And trying to stay away from this part right here. This is the part that's going to sit on the floor. Alright, so here's the finished project. Got it set up, looks good. Went together well, although there was one little hiccup. My spacing between the headboard and the top of the bed was wrong. I had to drill another hole and drop that headboard 4 inches. But it turned out alright. So nice setup here with this king bed in this room. And the color, pretty close match to my old furniture. This is like the first bedroom furniture I ever made. Probably 30 years ago, back when we had a water bed. So that's the dresser. Then there's a chest of drawers, but we have that in another room. Anyway, pretty pleased with the way this one turned out. Thanks for watching.